So hello, beautiful people out there in Facebook and YouTube land. I hope you all are having a fabulous Sunday and a great start to the new year so far. I know we're only 3 days in, but you know, you can get a lot done in 3 days. So hopefully it's looking a little bit better than 2020, as they said. It was 2021, but they said 2021, like WON. And I say, well, let's just make sure that we don't have a 2022 TOO in next year. So, so anyway, you guys, thank you for joining us here on the Demetra Kaye Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. And if you could do us a favor, you can share this to whatever platform you're on, Facebook or YouTube. I don't know if you can share it on YouTube, but you can share it from YouTube so that everyone else can get the information and join in on the conversation. I also like to say a big giant thank you to Donovan for sitting here as a co-host, as he does every Sunday. And then we'll be back on Free Flow Friday. You know, it's kind of Christmas and New Year's Eve, or New Year's or so. We figured everybody else would be doing stuff, so we didn't show up then, but we will be here this coming up Friday. And of course, you can catch us on the War Zone Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Also, like to say thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything that he does behind the scenes and making the show go further. And of course, YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. We could not and would not do this without you. And so, Donovan, what say you before we get started?
Well, I want to say happy New Year. It's hopefully the bar has been set so low so far this year that 2021 really has to fuck up bad to beat 2020. I mean, the bar is that low. We just want to have just, you know, regular days and get through it. So I hope a lot of you people out there are taking care of yourselves. Here in California, a lot of people have to call first thing tomorrow. They better call their creditors because they can't make their rent. They can't pay this. They can't pay that. Serious situation there. Also, 2021, one of my New Year's resolutions is this. Al Jackson needs to pay me my money because we were in desperate times. So hopefully this year I will be getting my money. So
you know what they said, as long as I owe you, you'll never be broke. So keep hope alive, brother. Keep hope alive. So hello, Tanaya and Janelle. Thank you so much. So I want to go ahead and get started. So I'll go ahead and set this up. As you guys can see, we're going to watch a video. It's about 1.5 minutes long, but I want to show it to you so we can have a discussion around it. And so basically our title today is The Case of Shawn Douglas, and his name, some people know him as Deshawn, but on the court paperwork it says Shawn Douglas. A Mississippi teen is charged with capital 1 murder of killing a white man. And so I want to show you all this video. And if you guys are in the watch parties, please tap on the link and come on this side so that I can read your comments. And that's one thing that's unique about this show, is that we read every single comment, question, or concern. And so if you want us to see those, please come on the side and put it in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to read those. All right, so what I'm going to show you all is a video of the night, or the day rather, that Mr. Christopher Millen was gunned down, and we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about that, but check this out.
Oh, you know, ain't no fucking man. You ain't never seen no fucking blood, bitch. Sit your ass down, hurt your ass. Hurt your ass, nigga. I don't give a fuck who you is, boy. God, nigga, you throwing mud and shit like a little ass bitch. You get somewhere else, I swear to God, I hurt your ass, nigga. I'm God, bro. I'm God, bro. You looking around here, you white people and shit, nigga. They we fucking police, nigga. I'm God, you go somewhere else. I swear to God, bro, you want to be like this, man. I'm God, bro. I swear to God, man. I swear to God, man. What's going on, man? I want to come over here, bro. I swear to God, man. Let's go,
World Star. World Star. World Star.
fucking mud in this nigga. I really should have hurt you, bro, but I ain't gonna do it. Because you got a fucking family, man. That's my thing, man. Yeah, you can stand up on this. Yeah, you a bitch, man. That's nothing you got to be for. Fuck, man. What you doing?
World star.
Hey, bro.
Hey,
bro.
You're a piece of shit.
Hey, bro.
No,
Hey, bro.
Oh. You're drunk.
No, hey, man, help me.
You're drunk as fuck.
Help me. Help me. Just go.
All right. And so for those of you guys who are just joining in, we're talking about the case of Shawn Douglas, or Deshaun, as some people know him as. A Mississippi teen is charged with capital one murder of killing a white man. And so what you guys just saw there was a video of partially what happened. Now, what happened after that no one seems to have gotten on video was that Shawn actually shoots the white guy. The neighbor, his name is Christopher Millen, shoots him to death. Now, it should also be said that the house that Shawn, the porch he was standing on, belonged to him. Okay, so that was Shawn and his family's house. Now, there's some history here. The white man, Christopher, would often, and he's neighbors, so they're neighbors next door, I guess they live in the same neighborhood anyway. So Christopher, the white guy, would often go and harass and threaten, and even in one case assaulted Shawn. And this has gone on for months. They said that the white guy would go over there and even harass and threaten his 13-year-old, Shawn's 13-year-old brother, his mom, and everybody. And you guys saw a little snippet of some of his behavior. And in one day in October, Christopher, the white guy, goes over to Shawn's house with a shovel, and from what they say, assaulted him. Now, Shawn calls the police and they go to court. The judge decides not to prosecute the white guy, Christopher Millen, but instead the judge ordered a stay away order, some sort of a restraining order for the white neighbor to stay away from Shawn. Okay. Now, on this particular day, it appears that the white guy did not, and this happened December 28th. The white guy did not take heed to the restraining order, if you will, the stay away order, and he finds himself again at Deshaun's house. Now, it sounds like maybe the guy was drunk. I don't know, because you can kind of hear somebody say you're drunk or you've been drinking or something like that. So, but anyway, Deshaun shoots him, and another neighbor says he saw Deshaun, or she, I don't know if it's a he or she at this point, saw Deshaun shoot 4 to 6 bullets. One struck him in the back, one in the front, and then the elbow and the leg or something like that. But anyway, he was shot 4 times. And so now Deshaun is sitting in jail with no bond. He goes to court tomorrow, January 5th, to try to see if there is a bond that will be set. Now, Deshaun's lawyer is arguing that he had the right, especially in Mississippi, to legally defend himself. There's a couple laws out there. They have the Castle Doctrine and no duty to retreat. So it sounds like the no duty to the retreat is what they're using, basically saying that you can be anywhere and you have the right to defend yourself if you are in danger and you are in legal standing. So as long as you're not breaking the law or anything like that, you have the right to defend yourself. And as you guys can see, he was on his property when Christopher, the white guy, accosted him, not for the first time, but several times. This man found himself or his way onto Deshaun's property. And so again, he has been denied bail the first time. Doesn't sound like he has a record or anything like that. A lot of people are saying that he is a good kid. It's totally unlike him to do something like that. But hey, you know, he was defending himself. But again, you guys know in Mississippi, the very deep, racist, South, that not much has changed since, Black people were brought over here in regards to Mississippi. We know that those laws are not written for us. They like to use the law to make sure we get what's ours, right? They punish us with the law, but the law is not necessarily meant to free us. And so this young man is hoping to get bail tomorrow because they said he's not a threat, never has been a threat. Now, the white guy's wife, they went and got her when her husband got mowed down, as he should have, for messing with people. she's saying that she wants Shawn to spend, you know, all of his life in jail. He should not be set free. He took her everything from her, and you know, the typical stuff. But where was she when her husband was, you know, gallivanting himself over to Deshawn's family's house and doing the things that he was doing? And so I hope I have been clear, but I wanted to, the main reason why I wanted to talk about this case is because a lot of people haven't heard about the case of Deshawn Douglas. When I mentioned it to people, they're like, no, I haven't heard it. What, really? And I actually learned about it from Tariq Nasheed on Twitter a couple of days ago. And so I thought I would start, unfortunately, the new year talking about this. But I just think that we should know that, you know, one of our, you know, essentially our children are being faced with a capital one. You guys know what comes with capital one. That's a death penalty, or usually life in prison. And especially for, you know, taking the life of a white guy, whether he was racist or not, never looks good for us as Black people. And so his lawyer is saying that they're going to argue that he should at least be let out on bond until this case goes to trial. So I guess we'll learn something tomorrow. And so I'm going to get to you guys' comments. Donovan, what say you before I do that? Can you hear me, Donovan? Okay, I think he's having some technical issues. So let me go ahead and read your comments. So good evening to you, Tanaya. And Jonelle says, peace, Queen, Donovan, and fam. And again, you guys, if you're in the watch parties, please come on this side and click on the link so that I can read your comments. And Tanaya says, don't they, can you hear me, Donovan? Donovan?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to say something.
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you now. Yeah, you're kind of, you froze up there. Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's on your side. So I see everything that.
Okay. All right.
I think it's on both of our side because I see everything that you're doing clearly.
Okay.
No pausing.
That's fine. Okay, no worries. All right. And so let's see here. Tonight says, don't they have a moratorium in California? Well, so this is in Mississippi, but California does have a moratorium on the death penalty. Gavin Newsom says that as long as he's governor, he will not be pulling a switch on anyone because he knows disproportionately Black and brown people are put on death row, and a lot of times they are innocent. And so that is in California that there's a moratorium, but Mississippi, shit, they probably over there pulling the switch every 5 minutes. And Janelle says, hashtag 2021, peace, everyone, make your 2021 be peaceful. Yeah, Donovan, you're back now, but you kind of went out. All right. And then Israel, how are you? He says, we are the real Jews. Okay. And Rich, how are you? Peace unto you as well. And Donovan says, let the ass whooping commence. Yeah. And Tanaya says, sad, sad, sad. Yes. And Israel says, free Shawn. Absolutely. He needs to be free. I mean, because you guys think about it. Where have we seen this case in reverse, kind of, you know, well, not kind of, but skewed to the fullest degree? And that was George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, where George Zimmerman, you know, claimed stand your ground, where he brought his funny looking ass off of his porch to pursue, you know, Trayvon Martin and murdered him. And he was allowed to use the stand your ground doctrine, if you will, even though he wasn't nowhere in danger, even though the 911 operator said, stay where you're at, do not pursue him, leave him alone. So, you know, he's walking around, breathing as free as a bird as we speak due to using the stand your ground. But yet you have a young man in Mississippi who was, you know, facing life or the death penalty for basically standing his ground.
Well, you got to remember also that there is the Black and Brown Coalition. Now, George Zimmerman is of the Brown persuasion, who you know, he's one of those brown people. He's from, but his mom is from Venezuela or Uruguay or one of those countries down there. But they think that they're white. So they can get away with that. So for all you people that out here talking about the Brown and Black Coalition and the kids in the cages and we should help them, they ain't helping us. I mean, they, you know, when it comes right down to it, 50% of all Hispanics, be it Latin, whatever they want to call, Puerto Rican, whatever, Cubans, whatever, vote Republican. They are not on our team.
Right. And Kiki, how you doing? He says, hey, beautiful people. Hello to you as well. And Israel, you say, that's what Christopher gets. Yeah, I mean, how many times do you think you should mess with people before they like, okay, because like his lawyer said, well, there was no reason for Shawn to think that this man would stop. Clearly, he was not going to stop messing with him. And so it's like, at what point do I get to say, okay, at one point in time, you're going to kill me or, somebody in my family. And as I said, including his 13-year-old brother was subjected to his tyranny often. And so he says he has it was within his reason to think, okay, you're not going to stop until you harm me or one of my family members. And so I agree with you. That's what he gets, And Donovan says there is more,
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say a kudos to Shawn, and I'm not saying people deserve to be killed, but when you're asking for it, you're going to get what you ask for. And down in the South especially, and you guys that are from the South, you guys know what I'm talking about. You could be the lowliest white person with the shack outhouse and the truck tires in the front yard and the rebel flag flying. For some reason, they think that they can do whatever they want because they are not a person of color or a black person or whatever. They think that no matter what happens, I'm white and I can stomp you out and harass you and nothing's going to happen to me because the law is going to be on my side. And I was born in the South. When I go home, you see that attitude in our people. Like, well, that's the white guy, leave him alone, or da-da-da. No, stand up. And, if it's going to take a bunch of these incidences to happen, I think the attitudes will start changing down in the South.
Yeah, I think a few things need to happen. So we'll get into that in just a few. But yeah, they know they can get away with it. Imagine if that would have been Shawn that went onto the white guy's porch with a shovel, swinging a shovel, he'd be in jail. But
no, he would be an Ahmaud Arbery case.
Right. We're talking about, when he stood his ground, case closed, And then Donovan says there is a moratorium, but that does not stop owners and creditors from enforcing. Oh, okay. You're talking about for the mortgage and stuff. Enforcing, as most judges agree that the CDC moratorium is unconstitutional. So you're talking about like the landlords.
All the creditors. Yeah. Here in California, all the creditors, they don't give a damn. They're going to go and the judges are going to decide for them because what it is, especially when it comes to property. In California, we had a Proposition 13 way back in the 70s that kind of lowered and kept your property values fairly low in your taxes, not the property, but the taxes. But property is so expensive here. A lot of these landlords want to get rid of their people so they can charge higher rents. And that's why they're saying to damn with that, we're going to go to it's unconstitutional.
Right. So there's going to be a lot of homeless people, unfortunately, starting now, and if, not already. Right. And he also said, Donovan, stay away from the damn moonshine. And Kiki says, Mississippi, shaking my head. I'm not surprised. Sounds like self-defense if the white guy provoked it. Yeah, he's on record provoking him countless times. It was something that he did. He felt, free to do that to black people. Deshawn being 18. He said his lawyer says that he would never, Deshawn would never allow him to provoke him because that's what he wanted. Now, in the video, you guys can see as Deshawn was walking away, the guy was on the back of his neck. So he says, the white guy finally said, all right, well, let me make it do what it do. And so, but they said up until then, Deshawn and his family never allowed the white guy to provoke them to, to physical violence, if you will. And Ride or Die, what's going on with you? He says, I see nothing's changed when it comes to self-defense for black folks. See Ben Crump's book, Self-Defense Legal Arguments Aren't Applicable to Sally. No, they're not. It's just unfortunate that they're not, because we know it had have been the other way around. The white guy, when they saw 1 day in jail, they would have said, well, sir, you did what you had to do to protect your family. This lunatic kept messing with you. And, I'm surprised you didn't shoot him before now. So
let me say this real quick. Have you guys noticed that if you've been paying attention, and it's so sad that we don't pay attention. I argue with so many people that tell me, well, what are you doing? I do this show. I ran for office twice. Whatever. Have you been paying attention, especially like up in Seattle and stuff, when you see these militant white groups that are armed to the teeth, and and rightly so. You could walk around open carry, fine. But if you've been paying attention, the police are actually helping these guys and letting them get away with stuff that they wouldn't let you, a Black person, get away with. It's almost like they're letting them do the dirty work and kind of giving them that behind the room, handshake, like, okay, hey, we got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You guys pay close attention to these police departments and how they take care of these militias. Some of them are outright terrorist groups, and yet the police aren't doing anything to disarm them or to be fair across the board.
Mm-hmm. Ray, how you doing? He says, I know they're going to try to railroad this kid. Oh, absolutely. And that's why it's important for us to get the word out about his case, because I don't know how many of you guys have actually heard about it, but like I said, I learned about it a couple of days ago, and this happened, well, I guess, the 28th, so it wasn't that long ago that it happened, but we should all know about this and try our best in any way, shape, or form, whether he has a GoFundMe or, to continue to spread the word and bring awareness about it, because we post about a lot of stuff all day long on our social medias. And I'm not saying they're not necessary, but a lot of times we post stuff that's not necessary. But if anything, we should post, it should be stuff like this, that of Shawn Douglas's case, so that people will know that this kid is facing the death penalty or spending the rest of his life in prison behind a white supremacist who felt like he had the right to do that and had the right to life after jumping on somebody's neck. And in the video that I just showed, showed him wrapping his legs around his neck. So it's like, at what point in time do I get to defend myself? Do I just let you just eventually kill me or mine? So we need to get the word out so that people will know what's going on, and also let Mississippi, the powers that be, know you're not gonna send this little boy, up the river without us at least fighting for the opposite of that.
Well, here's my question. I've been asking this, as you know, Demetra, we've been asking this for years. Okay, you're in Mississippi, predominantly where Black people are. We vote for, okay, if you're in the hood and you're, where predominantly a bunch of Black people are, you don't vote for Hispanic to represent you. That's human nature. You vote for somebody that looks like you to represent you, right? Be it city council, be it Congress or whatever. Where are these Black leaders where this stuff is happening, even if it's not in their jurisdiction? Why aren't they standing up and saying, what's going on with this case? What's happening here? Why is it that our Black leadership is silent when it comes to these outright murders?
Well, and I will say this, that you're on the money, because as of yesterday, I looked to see if Kamala, not that Joe Biden's our leader, but even Joe Biden, who, said he was going to stand by Black people, Barack, the Congressional Black Caucus, and a whole bunch of other people, I looked to see if they've at least tweeted about it, and I haven't seen anything. So I just, wanted to see just how much on the radar that it is, and it's not really at all. It's just not. And so let's see. And Anahita, I hope I said that right. If not, forgive me. He says, I wish I could represent him, Lord. Yeah, it sounds like you're a lawyer. He's going to need all the representation he can get. Sounds like he has a lawyer, but hell, it wouldn't hurt to reach out, and see if they need some more help, because I'm sure he does. And tonight it says, where did Deshaun get a gun? And he should have stayed on the porch, because where the fight took place was on the other neighbor's house from the video footage. Just sad. Donovan, do you want to say something? I think he froze up. Did you want to say something, Donovan? That must be a delay. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure where he got the gun, and him staying on the porch. I guess in hindsight, yeah, he should have stayed on the porch. But what about the next time? What about the next time the neighbor comes over? Because it wasn't the first time. The neighbor has made it his business to continue to mess with Deshaun and his family. As I said, in October, he showed up at Deshaun's house swinging a shovel, which landed them in court. And the judge ordered Christopher, the white guy's name, ordered Christopher to stay away from Deshaun and his family. And so at what point in time do I get to come off the porch? Because somebody else was saying too, somebody that he was supposed to be working with said that he was supposed to be helping them detail cars. And so maybe he was going to meet them, because that's what the testimony was from other people. Said we had just talked to him 10 to 15 minutes before that. We heard the gunshots because he was supposed to come, I guess, help us detail some cars or do something. So maybe he was on his way to go do that. But, you know, I just want to know, when was he ever going to be able to come off the porch without old dude messing with him? I'm just wondering. And we got a little feedback, Donovan. And Kiki says, if the roles were reversed, he wouldn't have even been arrested. They say he was defending himself and his property, standing his ground all day long. It wouldn't even been, he wouldn't even saw the inside of no police car at all. And he also said, no, I hadn't heard about this, and a lot of people haven't. And Janelle, you say, we should know what to expect from the injustice system by now. Amber Geiger killed a man in his home, not to mention whites walking away from killing black children like Tamir Rice and Anaya. We need a true, full, and complete freedom. Our Black Holocaust will only continue under white rule. We must have our own on all levels. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And Anahita, and he says, says Jonelle took his ass real quick, huh? So you're replying to him. And you also say they follow rules equals laws never have clearly. They have stole everything. Can't trust a thief. Absolutely. The laws apply to them when it benefits them, but applies to us when it, nails us to the cross. Oh no, they guilty. But yeah, no, we can't apply those things. They say we can, but we see that obviously we can't, right? And Kiki says standard ground law on Florida is passed for white men to freely kill. That's already been proven. Yep. The case of, I think his name is Jordan, I can't remember his last name, where the white guy shot the teenager because his music was too loud. But the white guy ended up going to prison for that. They was like, nice try. Right. Now, since we're on Florida, think about how they use the laws when it's a issue of black on black. Remember that black woman that was shot the warning shot against her domestic boyfriend or husband or something, and then they put her in jail like 14, 15 years, and they were going to just send her down there. I mean, they use these laws to either mass incarcerate us or just outright murder us. I mean, at this point now with these black leaders, I've been doing a lot of research on them and stuff and putting their records out. And it's a damn shame that not only are they massacring and murdering in the streets, they're walking right into our houses and doing it. Geiger, Breonna Taylor, I mean, they're just doing it. And our leadership is just silent. Yeah, and then even with the Amber Geiger thing, they tried to say she thought she was in danger because she thought she was in her house. It's like, just say you want the white lady off the hook and just be done with it. You ain't got to lie to kick it. Hey, Stacy, how are you? And Janelle says, Anita, as he should. He only got one life. The white guy could have walked away, but he persisted with his aggression and even followed Shawn when he tried to walk around, so he won't be aggressing anyone else. Absolutely. Like, again, at what point in time does he get to defend himself? Who's to say this fool wasn't going to jump out of a bush or something on him, or, just take another opportunity to do him in? I mean, most people would say the shovel, when you came to my house swinging a shovel, should have cost you something, but oh well, right? And son of, I hope I say this right, because I'll be messing up stuff, but I'm gonna try. Let me go back to this comment. It says, okay, son of Olu Dumer. Did I say it right? That sound kind of, what's that? Is that like French or Haitian or something? All right. Yeah, it sounds French. Mm-hmm. Yes. And how are you, by the way? He says, we have to adopt a proactive posture as opposed to reaching as a tactic. We can't continue to allow this abuse to continue unabated. Yeah, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? You continue just, well, today he didn't come to my house, but tomorrow he might. Last time he brought a shovel, this time he might bring a rifle or a rake. I mean, I don't know. What do? And then you got your 13-year-old brother who's probably afraid to go outside because the neighbor may do something to him. So it's like, I just, wow. And Jonelle says it's the same as the Twisted Tea case minus the gun. Yeah, you guys saw the video plenty of times of the brother with a can of Twisted Tea there in the liquor store, and the white guy kept calling him the N-word, and you know, he doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on it, and eventually he got twisted. All right, he took the can of Twisted Tea and wow, rearranged his whole understanding of life. And Kiki says, yep, Donovan is right. Even the lowest white people see themselves better than anyone who's black. It's just the truth. It hasn't changed. Yeah, that's been an idea that was sold to them. You are always, I don't care how bad your situation is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't Lyndon Johnson say something about that? He said, as long as I have the lowest white person thinking that they're better than the highest black person, it's something of that nature. I mean, it was a statement that he made to keep us in our place.
Right, and to keep them unified, or it was to keep them voting Democrat, I think it was, or something to that degree. But yeah, but they've always thought that, even before LBJ, they've always thought they were better than the you know, the highest, most elitist black person. So nothing's changed there, absolutely. And Anahita says, yep. And then Donovan says, insurance needs, contact Shemaya Opisantine, somebody in Nevada.
Osipitan, that is Nigerian.
Okay, got it.
Of the Ibu tribe.
All right, now. And Jonelle says, white people need to be held to account, and it will be plenty bloodshed and ass whooping from the top to the bottom soon, because whites ain't going to stop serving injustice until justice serves them. 2021 is just that change, but in truth, just as the calendar program, the redundancy remains the same. Change is not redundancy. Well, we're going to see what 2021 has in store, but I'm on the side of, I don't think we should wait and see. I think we should make it happen. You know, it's up to us, because 2020 whooped a lot of people's asses. And, you know, a lot of people obviously are still feeling the effects. And so when we definitely, especially as black people, got to do something different this year, because we are out of time. And Anita, you say, I'm sorry, he had the right to slay him in his yard, period. Show me my cell, my yard shit. Absolutely. I mean, golly, what was he going to do next? Come on in the house, sit down as he was, you know, sipping on some Twisted Tea, and then, you know, get to acting crazy? I mean, I don't know. And Jason, how are you? Says, it's not like back in the 50s. White guy started something, we are going to finish it. Right. But see, they haven't gotten that memo. They think it is like in the 50s. So I just go on the nigga porch, you know, and I, you know, tell him what I'm going to do to him. And, you know, I'm going to just be, and I'm going to get away with it. I mean, even the rhetoric of his wife was like, oh, he took my everything from me, and I just want him to pay. He needs to stay in jail. And she says she's going to go to court every single day to make sure that Shawn gets what's coming to him after her husband was messing with this child. I mean, he's 18, but he's a child to us, messing with this child. Now all of a sudden she want to be the victim.
Mm-hmm. Clutch my pearls. But you guys got to look at the messaging. What did Donald Trump tell these people? And he ran as a populist. Now, the Republican Party is known as the party of the rich and the corporate and all the rich folks, right? Have you noticed that these parties have now started to switch? You've got corporate Democrats. Trump, who is a lifelong Democrat posing as a Republican, he ran as a populist. You got these inbred white folks, whatever, that think, oh, this guy's a great guy, and yeah, we need to go back and make America great again. What do you think that message was saying? Let's make America great again, where we can just kill black folks and just treat them like shit, and all these immigrants and stuff, and this is our country, everything is our. That's where we're at. And that's why this young dude in the South has this type of attitude. It's almost like, you ever see that, what was it, Delirious? No, it was, what was the second Eddie Murphy, Raw? You see Raw, when he was talking about the Italian guy? You see that guy? Did you see the Rocky movie? Yeah, I saw a Rocky movie. Well, yeah, you see that guy? I'm 5'2". He's 6'8". I'm gonna go over there and kick his ass. They just believe this shit. So
Oh, absolutely. And tonight it says, we saw that during the summer protest, Donovan. They're all in it together. Yep. Antifa, MAGA, they're all, they don't mean black people any good at all. And Donovan has the new black media where you get stories of our people that the established media will never let you know about. Absolutely. Please support black media, especially new black media. And Kiki says, I feel you should run again, Donovan. Yeah, he might.
Yeah, no, everybody says that, but here's the thing, you know, when you run, you know, we had a lady in my district, long story short, she ran, I don't know, every time there was a cycle, she ran over 6 times. You become a running joke after that because the people have made a decision. Now, in my neighborhood, it's a Hispanic neighborhood in my district. You cannot be white or black and expect to win unless you're willing to sell your soul and do the bidding of the person that controls the city. So that's the reality of it. But see, even if I was to run, I would be more controlled because I can't say certain things. I can't do certain things. So being on the outside and as a political watchdog, I give them the business. And that's how I roll.
Right. And AJ, how you doing? He says, you are right, Demetra. And I hope I say this right. He says, Kaye, who I hope I said that right. But anyway, Mr. Nollywood says, hey, lovely Demetra, hello to yourself. And
I kind of noticed you always seem to make sure you talk about the ones that say, hey, lovely Demetra. Oh, fine Demetra. Oh, pretty Demetra.
I read all the comments. I was going to skip over that one. I'm hungry. No, And Tweety Bird, how are you? Did you see a putty cat? I'm just kidding. He says, I can't believe only 18 watching right now. Once again, Black Lives Matter. He is still alive. Thank God. Yes. Well, that's 18 on YouTube, which is kind of a lot for me.
Yeah, Tweety Bird. Actually, I share it here on my different platforms, so you're not going to see those actual real numbers.
But I'm grateful for the 18 that are watching on YouTube. That's 18 more people that can get this message out about Shawn Douglas, because a lot of people just don't know about his situation. And Ahanita, he said, too busy getting paid. And son of Ola Dumir, he says, we have black misleaders. They remain silent in the midst of all of our mistreatment. Absolutely, that's exactly what they are, misleadership. And guess what, though? We keep electing them to mislead us year after year after year, term after term. We get them right back on in there. And Ahanita, you say, oh, no, he don't have to do shit in his own yard. Yeah, you know, I'm in my yard. Like, so now I got to watch my step in my yard. I got to be careful because this white dude who's been messing with me might come and say something to me like he's completely in the wrong. And Jonelle says, exactly, Donovan. The white boy, Rain something. He says, who shot the people at the, who shot the people at the Jacob Blake protest, who didn't even live in Kenosha, whose mother drove him there with the weapon. Case was swept out of the media, right? Because he's out now, right? But what happened? And millions was raised for him, nor did he get arrested until pressure was put upon police to do so. But this is the purge society we're living in. Yeah, was he 17? I think he's 17. His mom drove him there, didn't even live there, drove him there. He was armed to the teeth, and they raised, I think this bail was about $2 million, $1 million or something like that. They raised all of the money, and Ricky Schroeder of Silver Spoons gave them the $250,000 to put them over the top to get him out. And you haven't heard a word else about, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse. That was the name of the 17-year-old white supremacist. Haven't heard a word about it, and you probably won't. And Tanaya says, maybe they haven't heard about it. This is my first time hearing about the case, but there are black leaders in Mississippi, Donovan, and their silence is not surprising. Yeah, this is a kid who has had to defend himself. He went to court, tried to do it the right way, tried to get the man to intervene, and I guess they did to some degree. The dude should have been arrested, but they put some sort of a restraining order out there, and he still came to mess with him, and now he's pushing up daisies, or he's getting ready to be anyway. So
that's the message that should be sent anytime you do something stupid like that, or you mess with one of our people and all this other stuff, like I said, if you don't want to treat us right, then we're definitely not going to treat you right either. And I'm not going with the Christian thing, but in the South, though, we have to stop being comfortable with electing a person because they're Black and they're not doing anything for us and changing the situation, because those laws should have been changed by the Black judges and leaders that are running around down there that know that these laws are on the book and they're unjust.
Right. No, absolutely. And Tweety Bird says they work in the trenches, right? And Lucille, how you doing? It says when the law applies to them, they always claim mental illness. Yeah. Even the dude who bombed the Christmas Day bombing, he was a veteran and he had these post-traumatic issues and this, that, and the other. So they dress it up real nice. And even with this kid here, Shawn Douglas, they got his mug shot up. No. We want to see the glossy photo of him with his graduation gown and him doing positive things. And those are the things we don't want to see no mugshot. Do them like you do the white boys that go and kill 11 people and blow up stuff. Let's see his good deeds that he's done. But so we know that's not how it works though, right? And Kiki says, so true. Too bad a lot of the Deep South is still living in the 1950s mentally though. This is proof of it. No way should this kid be facing a capital charge. Yeah, but he is, but if we don't get the word out, they'll completely convict him. If not, they'll send him, to death row.
Yeah, this is a 21st century scenario of To Kill a Mockingbird, I mean, in the parameters of what he did, but it's almost the same thing. Because he's Black, he's in the South. Oh, we're just going to throw everything we can at him to make sure he doesn't get away.
He's Black and he spilled white blood. See, to them, there's never a justification to do that. You're supposed to allow him to keep messing with you. Your mama, your brother, and everybody else in that household, you're supposed to allow them to do that to you and just take it. So.
Well, no, I'm white. I'm better than the highest Black person you could have on this planet. Or the person of color.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you Black, you're supposed to just accept that's your fate there and just roll with it. Just accept that your neighbor is going to come mess with you whenever he feels like it or he gets too much to drink. He just accept it.
He goes in there, assaults your daughter or, rapes your wife. You're supposed to accept that shit.
Just a little rape? Oh, okay. Obviously I'm being facetious here. And tonight it says Jordan Davis and his mother is a Congress rep. Yeah, so she's a Congress rep now. Congress rep McBath. He says he was the only one whose case, unfortunately, since Trayvon. So the only one that's won, right? The one where the white guy said he's playing his music too loud and he shot into his car and murdered him. And he was completely thought he was going to get off, but he did not. Hey,
right. But what did they give him? They gave him life. They're trying to give this guy death.
Right. And he was really minding his own business, like honestly. And how you doing? I am going to give you a call back. I was running around. I sat here in this chair at the last minute. Even Donovan was waiting for me. And he says it's a Yoruba, I hope I said that right, an aspect of God. And Jonelle says we have so many injustice cases of our people being killed for nothing and getting no justice. No people, especially whites, would tolerate this, which is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches the best religion is do unto others as they others would do unto you. Nothing in nature turns the other cheek. Only the programmed slave. Absolutely. Nothing does. Even if you ever tried, not me, but I've seen people try to mess with cats. Keep picking at cats. I know Donovan's a cat person. Ooh, Lord, I don't know these people's name, Donovan. Don't try to go get no street justice. But you ever see Donovan knows he's a cat person or even a dog. You keep needling at them, they gonna put a claw on you. So yeah, we're the only ones that's programmed to say, well, and then you guys, I don't know if you've seen, but I did a video on it, the African Diaspora News Channel, where what's his name? Oh gosh, the trumpet player who was assaulted, him and his son in the hotel by Soho Karen. He's out there with Al Sharpton and Ben Crump playing "We Shall Overcome" on the trumpet.
See, but here's the thing, though. You got these new Black millennials and shit. They're on some different shit. our parents and, you know, the baby boomers, they're the ones programming all that shit that worked for them in the 60s. They're cool with seeing black faces and them doing nothing. They think that that's progress. Whereas these new kids are like, God dang, we ain't got no jobs. AI is, you know, wiping out jobs. And, you know, these young kids want results. They don't want symbolism. So.
Yep. And the artist, how you doing? He says the judicial system uses the law to intimidate black people from using them. Typically stand your ground. When black people use it, doesn't apply. Two different sets of laws in the United States, one for whites and one for blacks. Absolutely, especially in the South. I mean, I'm in the South. I mean, I don't know, I'm not in the dirty South, depending on where in Texas you are, but it's not Southern California, to say the least. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, we know that there's two sets. I stay in the house a lot because I know me. They've been and said, get a rope. This Negro's got too much to say.
No. The person that we have to look out for is Deanna, because Deanna didn't take no shit here. Lord have mercy for anything that goes on down there.
That's my daughter. And Jonelle says, twisted tea for all the races. Yes, absolutely. I've seen the memes where they had some twisted tea for Mitch McConnell. They say he needs to be twisted up. And Tweety Bird says, and we are still stuck with that because black people still believe in the Democrats. And LBJ said that in his quote, we'll be voting for Democrats for the rest of our lives. Yep, that's what he said. And what are we doing? I mean, go out in the middle of the street, or how about at your next family function when you can do so safely when the coronavirus is over, or in your church and say, those Democrats ain't did nothing for black people, and try to make it out of there alive, okay? See if you escape with your very life. I just dare you to, at the next Thanksgiving dinner, mention how Democrats ain't did nothing, or even say this, you know, Barack Obama hasn't done anything specifically for black people. Hopefully all the steak knives are away from the table. That's all I'm going to say.
Just look at your representative, find your local or your next black representative and put their record up on your Facebook and watch how many people defend them for what they're not doing for black people. I put up 7 congressional black leaders. I looked at all of their legislation, not one thing specific for black people. I'm talking about a Black Panther. Power to the people, sister, my brother. Come on, we get this food stuff. You know, these guys were feeding their own community. The guy goes in the coke. He goes in the Congress, doesn't introduce one bill specific for black people. And we're just supposed to be like, oh, well, he's been there for 30 years, by the way.
Talking about Bobby Rush. And Jonelle says they having Nat Turner flashbacks. Good. Yes. There needs to be quite a few of us having some Nat Turner flashbacks, right? And AJ says 100. And Kiki says there was a case here in Florida where a white man was being robbed on his boat. The robbers ran away. He went and retrieved the gun from his boat, chased down the 2 men and killed them. He got off under stand your ground. So did another white man for killing his wife's lover when he caught them having sex. Yet black males are serving life sentences for worse circumstances and were denied using that law as a defense. It's a law for white men, period. Absolutely. I just saw a case a couple days ago where it's a black man. He did 30-something years. And I want to say he was sentenced to life for robbing a bakery, for stealing something. I don't even know if it was robbery. He stole something from a bakery. And this man did 36 years. He's finally out now, thank God. But 30 for life, and you did 36 years for stealing something from what was it like? Was it crack powder on the donuts? Like, what was on the donut that warranted him getting sentenced, you know, to life? And it's crazy. Crazy.
Well, again, look at the laws that are on the books. You would think that, okay, I'm running for office. I look like you, so you vote for me. Because what do they always say when they're running for office? I'm going to do this for the community. We need to do that. And, you know, when I get there, I'm going to do this. Then they get there. Now, you know that a bunch of people in your community have been sentenced because of the drug laws and all that stuff under Joe Biden and all that, the Biden laws and shit like that. You would think, okay, well, how am I going to help my people? Let me see about these laws and try to change them. And, you know, at least I can show I'm fighting, I'm fighting, I'm fighting. You know, not just sitting there saying, well, you know, there's nothing I can do. The Republicans are in the majority. They don't even introduce bills. They don't even introduce them. But these bills, these laws have been on the books for years. Let's go back to the 1930s. These poor sharecropping kids from Arkansas, the Arkansas 4 or something like that, that were railroaded into jail. And they were in there for what? I think it was some bullshit. And they were in there for like 40-something years.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to remove these laws. But everybody in the South know these stories and all this other stuff, but they keep the laws on the book. So whose fault is that?
Right. We keep voting in people who are like, and Sacks Up Your Life. He says, I'm listening to it. How are you, by the way? And tonight says, okay, Donovan, you're handsome with that good skin. See, I read a comment about you. You happy? And Tweety Bird says, that's good to hear because I was sad because where are the supporters? Yeah, just a lot of people just don't know about this whole. That's what we're trying to do here is get the word out about Shawn Douglas, that he is facing Capital One murder charge, which we know could carry the death penalty for basically protecting himself. And AJ says they are bojangling. And Jonelle says their Supreme Court ruling in the Dred Scott case is still applied as the Judge Taney stated and ruled in the case. There's not a law that a white person is bound to respect when it comes to a black person. Think about that and look at their injustice system serving us that disrespect. We better wake up. Justice is just us. Absolutely. We have to unify and start doing for self because, as you said, you cited, the case of Dred Scott, and that's what they said. Hey, you Negroes ain't got no rights here, and we ain't gonna respect them. And that was 1800s. We're not gonna respect them. So I mean, like I said, it's really just us at this point. We have got to start doing for self and stop expecting the system of oppression to actually give us some justice. If they were interested in that, they would have done that a long time ago. It's not something they're interested in doing. And DeErnest, you say black leadership are working for the same system of white supremacy. Some of the black leaders are benefiting from the plight of black people. Yeah, when I get there now, I'm sure gonna make sure you get a butter biscuit too. It's not just gonna be me getting one. Everybody gonna get a butter biscuit. And then when they get in there, not only do they get the butter biscuit, but they keep the recipe to themselves. They're like, we ain't even gonna tell you how to go and help make it easy for you to learn how to make your own butter biscuit. So, I mean, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. How many of you guys saw that the Republicans, other than the presidential election, they picked up seats everywhere. They picked up 12 House seats. So that means now a bill would pass in the House by about 22 votes. There are 55 members of the CBC. Okay. Why is it that Nancy Pelosi just doesn't even bother asking the CBC how they're going to vote? They automatically just vote Democratic and that's it. But if they would be smart and say, you know what, we now control the table because you need our votes to pass any legislation. So if you want this, give us that. It's very simple. It's very simple. They could control the legislation and see what goes down, but they don't do it. And because we don't pay attention to what's going on, whose fault is it at the end of the day? Ours.
Right. AJ says, say that, Donovan. And Janelle says, and their black leaders, if they're not standing up for strong for black people and holding those who offend us to account. They might tweet about it. Oh, the hashtag such and such, but they're not really going to go in there and do any real damage to, raise awareness to what's going on with their people. They're just not going to do it. The eating is too good for them. They eat
Wait, Black Girl Magic. Are you surprised that Senator Kamala Harris's seat here in California went to a Hispanic? What a shock. How dare they? But what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Right. And a lot of people don't even know that. She gave her seat. So now, and we talked about this last week, with Kamala not in the Senate, there are no black women. Now, I know some people take exception to whether she's black or not, but there's no black women in the Senate now. Some people say there wasn't one in there when she was in there, but for real now, there's no black women in the Senate now because, and she tweeted about it. That's her good friend, and she's glad that he got the seat. So yeah, black girl magic for you. And Jonelle says, as Chris Rock said, I want to see some white mothers crying just as much as black mothers are for their children. Black cops don't make white hashtags, but damn, white people are truly on a killing spree of black people. Yep, always have been. They're just bloodthirsty, and part of them know they'll get away with it. You know, nothing to, you know, we're gonna bag us one.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course you're going to get away with it when you're okay. And I'm not saying the North and the South, whatever, is different, but there's a different culture in the South. There's a lot of nepotism in the South. So why wouldn't they get away with it? Uncle Rufus, we've been in this town. You know, we founded this town. You know, we don't run for judge. How come is it that black people down in the South, we don't run for these offices? Oh, that's, you know, that's Mr. Morgan's position. They always run for that. That's the Morgans always are the judges in the town. That's why they think they're going to get away with it, because they have the connections. They have the money. They can buy politicians, as like Demetra says, and power economics. Dr. Boyce Watkins says, if you don't have any money to buy your politicians, you don't have much say.
Right. Yep. Powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson. Right. You know, you don't have any the politics without economics is just you know, bumping your gums. And let's see here. Sacks up your life. It says he did not spill white blood. He spilled pink blood. A pig is an unclean animal. A pig is a pink unclean animal. So says the creator. Wow. Hey, Demetra. And Brian, what's up to you? Says, yes, that pissed me off. And Anita, he says, right. And Brian says, that's a slavery mentality. And Brian says, let's play blues and give us the blues. Right. And AJ says, yep, they are. Many parents are the same way. Exactly. We want results. And Anita, you say, period. And Israel, he says, at AJ, what's your Instagram? And then AJ says, same here. I'm in the Midwest. And Jonelle says, Queen Demetra, you got too much sass. Yeah. Woo, I'll be in trouble out here. That's why I stay in that house. I go to the store and back. Store and back.
If you think she's got sass, meet her daughter.
I have to give it a talk now. You don't be sassing these white folks around here now. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't tell her that. Oh, and AJ says, "Okay, so you giving him your Instagram?" And Ahanita says, "I'm trying to tell him." You also say, Jonelle, she does 100. Yeah, I have to, like, you know, to have a lot of conversations with myself and say, self, you don't always have to respond. You know, just the goal is to make it home safely.
See, and then you have to know your stuff. See, that's one reason I can't go to I could visit the South. I love being down there, but I know that if I lived there, I would be one dead Negro. Period.
Yeah, y'all think I Donovan, boy, I'll be we go play something like, listen, Kaye, let it go, brother. Let it go. One day on the way back from Africa, we was in LAX. This dude kept on cutting in front of Donovan. So I told him, I said, man, let it go, let it go. I went to the restroom, came back. The dude cut in front of Donovan again, and Donovan's head did like the Exorcist, and he did a Tasmanian devil. I just stood back. I said, do you? He had it coming. And also, standing ground is for white people. I don't know what the particulars are in this case. However, if he had no trespassing sign in his yard, it strengthens his case. I don't know what he had, but he definitely had some sort of restraining order. The white guy was ordered to stay away from Shawn. The black guy, the kid, was ordered to stay away from because he, as I said, assaulted him with a shovel in October. And so they went to court, and the judge didn't prosecute the white guy for whatever reason, but he did order him to stay away from Deshaun and his family. And here it is, December 28th. His people were planning a funeral because he did not abide by that stay away order. And so, unfortunately for him, but at some point in time, I think people just need to realize fat meat is really greasy. It is greasy. And Demetra says, there's no justice when under the oppressor's thumb. Nope, not at all. Not for us, it's not. And Donovan says, I like that Bojangling term. Can I use that? You ever heard that before? And he also say 58 members of the CBC. Yeah, they talk more about DACA and the Dreamers and, Hispanic issues more than they do our issues. Because they see the writing on the wall. As Joe Biden told them, hey, you know what? The Hispanics outnumber y'all. You guys better learn how to get along with them and get on board. And so those caucus members aren't stupid. They know that they have to tout that of Hispanics too, because they're going to be able to, pretty soon, if not already, outvote us. Because they even tried to take credit for this last election. Oh, actually, it was more Hispanics that showed up, to the polls for the Democrats and the Black people. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, but the backbone of the Democratic Party, the black girl magic, was silent when those Hispanics were saying that. But here's the funny thing. You got an 87-year-old Maxine Waters who lives in the poorest district in California by statistics. When the day does come that she gets out of office, that district is going Hispanic. All of these districts here in California are flipping Hispanic. And here's a good thing about another thing about being a political watchdog and what I do here and highlight what's going on politically and embarrassing these people. Because that's pretty much all you can do to these people. They don't like their record being seen. I call them political vampires because when you shed light on their record, they're like this. There's a Hispanic lady named Eloise Reyes. She is now the incoming majority leader in the assembly in the state of California. What does that mean? Doesn't mean I'm a shot caller. It means I have access to power. I am not an elected official, but I can call Eloise or go to Eloise's office and say, hey, look, I know you're doing DACA. I know you're doing Dreamers. I know you're doing things for your people. But can a brother get a honey biscuit for his people? I have her ear. And that's how you have to kind of go around all of this bullshit, because the Black people that we elect aren't doing a damn thing. I'm playing chess while they're playing street tic-tac-toe.
She gonna say you should have got a honey biscuit from that negress that I took her spot. That's who should have been giving you, a honey butter biscuit. Now I'm gonna give, some tacos and taquitos and all of that to my people now. And Anita, you say 100, and AJ said so true. That happened in my state of Missouri. Exactly. Do for self. And Tanaya says, honestly, we need a national legal fund for our people across this disgusting country, plus impeccable lawyers to represent us. Absolutely no more Benjamin Crumps. We had Tamir Rice's mother on the War Zone. Was it Thursday night? Samira Rice. And you guys watch it. She told the truth from her point of view as it is. She confirmed what we already knew about Benjamin Crump. She says he's good at bringing awareness, but he doesn't know the law. He hasn't won any cases. And so to your point, we need some good lawyers. And wasn't you, Anita, you said you want to represent them? We need lawyers like you to go out there and actually get justice for our people. Stop trying to cash in on a payday, because we know Benjamin Crump and lawyers like him, they're ambulance chasers, and they have gotten so wealthy off of standing side by side with these families. And then ultimately they go in there and settle, and they don't really get justice. The murderers walk. They walk and they get away with it. So yeah, we do need good representation for our people, and we need money. And Tweety Bird says, remember Eldridge Cleaver, he went to jail and came out speaking on stage for Ronald Reagan. Yeah, and I think a lot of them too are just more or less like, hey, you know what? I've seen what they did to the rest of my brothers and sisters. I mean, some of them are still, a lot of them, or they're dying off now and they're still in, prison for stuff no, because it's been proven that they did not do it. So a lot of them, they just buy in. Like, okay, I tried it. Let me go ahead and buy in.
Well, as we see, the civil rights, a majority of these so-called civil rights fighters and stuff, and we're not taking anything away from what the civil rights movement did in the baby boomer generation. They were very instrumental in changing what was then. But it's 60 years later, and they've spent, if you look at all these so-called freedom fighters, they spent more time with the oppressor than fighting the oppressor. So what does that tell you?
I'm looking here. Let's see here. Hold on, because I saw a comment I wanted to address really quick. Israel, I'm not skipping your comments at all. I'm reading it. I just went back and looked. I haven't. If I have skipped any, forgive me, but I'm not purposely skipping your comments. So forgive me if I have. But if you would,
sometimes, and especially from YouTube and stuff like that, depending on what they're doing.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, I'm not purposely doing that. So forgive me. And Kiki said, I posted on my page yesterday that over 50% of people exonerated for homicides are Black people, meaning they were found to be innocent. The majority of exonerated people since 1989 are Black. That's very profound and telling. Think about that. So when they like to say more Black people are in prison, they're right. But it's not because they're all guilty. As Michelle Alexander said, the new Jim Crow, that's exactly what the U.S. prison population system is. Constitutional modern day slavery. And I think that was each other. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And, you know, our DuVernay, she blocked me on Twitter, by the way, but it's whatever. She had a movie, 13th. And in that book by Michelle Alexander, they talk about the 13th Amendment that, you know, abolished slavery except for the prison system. So that is, you know, the modern day slavery, as they say, the new Jim Crow. But no, you're absolutely right. And
maybe y'all shouldn't be doing no crimes. You wouldn't have to worry about it. Don't do no crimes.
How many times have we heard that, right? Especially when they're defending Kamala. Well, you know, she had to do her job. It was her job. No, the job of a prosecutor is to seek justice, even if that means setting people free, is not to, well, you're guilty. But I know as Black people, especially, that's our relationship with a lot of prosecutors. They, you know, they feel like it's their job to prove it's guilty and get us to plead and say, okay, well, you know, they're looking at killing you, but if you just plead to this, then you'll get life. How about that? Well, you know, I go through it.
Or you could be a Mitrice Richardson and appeal to Black Girl Magic, Sororo, Kamala, and Kamala just totally ignores you.
Right. And Israel says, Shawn is in the wrong. You must leave it in the hands of Black Jesus. We are in this situation because of our forefathers broke the commandments of Moses.
Okay, but we're here now. So, yeah. You know, well, you know, and let me just say this. My question to Israel, and, you know, and I hope I'm not being disrespectful or anything, is how is that going to help us? We know the origins, we know our history, we know all of those things. But if you believe it or not, and like me, I don't really deal with all that because I live right now what I got to do. So how is knowing all that going to help us? How do we get out of it? I be forgiving and loving. How much hell is he going to wrath upon us if this God is such a forgiving God?
Do Israelites subscribe to the whole Bible? Do y'all like read the whole Bible? Because what happened to an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth? You know, and you reap what you sow, and you keep fucking with me, I might take you. I mean, I know I don't say that per se in the Bible, but we're like, do we read the whole thing? Because I mean, at some point in time, doesn't God also say, you know, you got to take things, you got to like do for yourself and all of those things. I mean,
actually, it's funny that you say that, because in the New Testament, a Christian will always tell you, well, Jesus said, turn the other cheek. That's not true. He did not say, turn the other cheek. He said, it is preferred that you turn the other cheek, because what was in the Old Testament is still relevant. You got to do not kill, do not whatever, the 10 Commandments, whatever the deal is. He said, it's preferred that you turn the other cheek. However, if you must have justice, you could only do no more than what was done to you. So an eye for an eye. So he was referencing the Old Testament, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You can't do any more than what was done to you. It is preferred that you turn the other cheek, but you don't have to. If you demand justice and, you know, revenge, he wants you to get the revenge as what had happened.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I fail to believe we serve a God that would say, hey, you know, keep allowing people to mess with you, your mama, your brother, and everybody else. I mean, like Donovan said, we here now. You know, I mean, how much hell do we deserve? My goodness. I would think that's a debt that's been paid. I don't know. I'm not trying to be funny either, you know, by the way.
Yeah, 8 million Africans drowned across in the slave trade. I mean, how much blood debt do we owe this guy?
Yeah, like I said, you know, 30% of the Africans that were transported through the Middle Passage were killed or died, murdered, you know, on the way over here to endure more hell. So that kind of just baffles me that we think, you know, Black people still have a debt to owe, and to what God, you know, will continue wanting us to suffer. I don't know. I just kind of take exception to that. And I want to say this to you guys too. I never talk about my degrees, but I have 2 of them from a Christian university. You know, when I was, you know, in the midst of religion, I have 2 degrees from a Christian. So I kind of know the Bible and the inner religion a little bit, just a little bit, not much. And AJ says, exactly, real talk. And Tweety Bird says, that is a good thing because we need to be independent. We did it before. Well, not me, but Marcus Garvey did it. That's why they got rid of him. Absolutely. And Marcus Garvey didn't have no social media. He didn't have no phone. He didn't have no TV. He didn't have any of that. And they said he organized 3 to 6 million Black people worldwide to get on board with, you know, the UNIA, to go back to Africa, to do for self, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, and don't do, we shouldn't be concerned with white people until we as Black people have our own things. And so, yes, it was done before. It was done in Black Wall Street. It was done before, you know, the civil rights came along. So it's not like we are not able to ever do it. And you guys can fill in the blanks what it is. For some reason, you know, and I get it, we've been beaten up so much by oppression and the oppressor to where sometimes we just throw our hands up and say, you know what will be, will be. Just point me to the nearest cotton field.
Yep. And what did they get Marcus Garvey on?
It was $25 mail fraud.
Yeah, wire fraud, basic mail fraud. Right, exactly. That's what they got on.
One of us that did it. Agent 800 was one of the first FBI agents in history of the United States, was used to take down Marcus Garvey and the UNIA over $25. Okay, $25 took down something that was so promising to Black people. One of us, just so you know. If you didn't, I know you guys already know. And you also say we are protected by the Most High, bringing the real news. Well, absolutely. And I do want to say, too, that I do believe in God. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm an atheist or anything like that. I do believe in God. I believe there's a higher power. But I also believe God resides in us. And, you know, I think God will want us to do more than we're doing. I don't think God will want us to continue being sitting ducks and, you know, giving all of our money away and doing the things that we are doing that's not helping us. I don't think God will want us to sit and do that. I think he will want us to come together, devise a plan, so that we can get out of being, as Dr. Claude Anderson say, a permanent underclass, if that's possible. And son of Ola Dumer, you say, if you believe that whites are telling you the truth about our population, we've been 13% of the population since 1870. Well, you know, we're definitely that now, you know, and we've been that way for a very long time. And, you know, we won't stop in the question why.
Well, you know, and here's another thing for you guys that are listening. As I've been doing my political satire on these congressional vampires, the CBC, the Black ones, people say, well, you got to do everybody. No, I don't need to do research to know that Nancy Pelosi, a white woman, isn't going to do specific reparations bill for me. That would be a waste of my time. But if you look at their record, they are judged. And so far, the 7 congressional Black people that I've put out there so far, they're all rated at 100% of Planned Parenthood. So where am I going with that? Think about the eugenics program.
Yep, absolutely. And just so you know, Martin Luther King, I know that strikes a sore spot with people, but Martin Luther King was actually given an award by Margaret Sanger for his role in helping with eugenics. And via Coretta King, she gave the speech for him because he wasn't able to. She accepted the award, and he said that he would always consider it one of his most prized possessions, the award that he was given by that of Margaret Sanger, who is one of the godmothers, if you will, of the eugenics program, especially in population control regarding Black people. And AJ says, you're right, Donovan. LOL, love that political vampires. And Marcus, you say this is one of the cases where we know of, and just like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, amongst others, this is happening daily somewhere in this country. Get your money by any means necessary and get your passports now. You have alternatives to this country and this hate. Absolutely. And Marcus is it like that of Marcus Garvey, like, let's blow this joint. There'll never be any justice here for Black people in America. Let's go. And
yes,
so
Marcus is ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in Ghana right now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who have already, Black people who have already left and said, hey, my stress is not there anymore. Like, you know, I'm here, I'm happy. And we went to Africa in 2019 and we felt the same way. It was like, really? Who knew? Who knew this? You know, it's be so stress-free around here. Being around your people, you know, mostly Black people. When you saw white people, it was like, there's a white person. So, you know, that's
yes. But here's the funny thing: if you guys ever go back to Africa, here's the funny thing: do not go back there expecting America. A lot of Black folks get there and you think, well, where's this? Where's that? You're in Africa. You're in a different country, so you got to retrain your mind to think that certain things that you would get in America might not be over here. Okay, so, and then in South Africa, the poverty thing is so abstract. 7% of white people control 75% of everything. Black people in shacks, shanty towns, in mass droves. So, you know, you just got to train your mind.
Absolutely. And it's actually 90%. White people control like 90% of the wealth and Black people 10%. So I'm going to get to you guys' comments really quick. And hey, Janelle, you said, do chicken come with that honey biscuit? Nah, you got to do something extra strange for the change for some chicken to come with it now. Are you kidding me? No. That was Kamala Harris, ladies and gentlemen. And Misty Blue, what's going on with you? You said, what's up with the screen? Is there something going on with the screen? Let me know if something's going on with the screen. And Janelle says, until we stop as people compromising and living in the illusion of inclusion and start moving in self-love, independent mind, and unity, we will be subjected to injustice of all sorts. Absolutely. Our unity is going to be what frees us ultimately. But until then, we'll be subjected to everything. And Anita, you say, Jonelle, 100 slave to their own ignorance. Yep. I always tell people, come on, let's educate ourselves a little bit. Just even if you did it a little bit, you'd be better off, right? And Antonio, how you doing? He says the world is browning. That's what they're scared of. Just look around. When was the last time you saw a Caucasian baby? They aren't reproducing, and if they are, it's with a brown-skinned person. It is absolutely browning. Absolutely.
Right. But here's the problem with that browning. You've got Mexicans and Latin people, whoever, Hispanics, that are now the new white. That's what they're claiming. We're white now. So that's another problem.
They're still brown to me.
Yeah, you know, they're redefining what WASP is. You know, the new WASP is the now Hispanic, Spanish, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, Paco. And Anita, you say it's 2021, love. And Brian says, what? And Israel says, we get out of it by coming back to our heritage and keeping the commandments. We must be peaceful with our enemies.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that, but how about if I say this? I am peaceful with people that are peaceful with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be peaceful with you if you don't put your hands on me, but like Malcolm X said, other than that, I'm going to send your ass to the cemetery and you touch me.
And by the way, you guys, that's Demetra's mantra. You guys don't know this, but Demetra lives by that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with you. You can say what you want, all of that, but the moment you touch me, ooh, it's over. And Haniti says, eye for an eye, period. Yeah, I thought that's what it said. You know, you come around here messing with me, I get to mess with you back. And Misty Blue says, biblical 400 years is up, and the white supremacists, I think that's what you meant. No, it's Israel. Yes, the Israelites do read the whole Bible. Okay. I just wondering, because sometimes, you know, I don't know the whole Bible, so I'm not sitting here saying that I do, but I do know there's some parts of it that just, you know, really say that you have the right to protect your own life, I'd imagine. And AJ says, I feel the same way, Donovan. And Ahanita says, Allah says an eye for an eye. See? And Marcus says, you can never change a nation and the way it treats Black people if the people who have the power to change it are the same people handing out the hate and abuse. Why the hell are we still trying? There are real alternatives discussed and debate, and they must be talked about at length and more than just passing comments. Well, you know what? I agree with you, Marcus, but I think people who want to leave will leave. What did Marcus Garvey tell us? He said this. He says, there are some Black people who are no good here, and they will be no good over there in Africa. So the point being is you can't save everybody. Everybody doesn't want to go. And ask yourself this. Do you want those people to go? Now, it'd be nice if all Black, I'm not saying, you know, I'm trying to be an elitist or separatist, although I have advocated for leaving some Black people behind, because there's just some who do like it. They like the oppression. They like all the things that we're going through here, negative. They like it. And then they don't want to, as Donovan say, separate from this good white man. They love it. They want to be a part of it. And so you're not going to convince everybody to go. Now, there's some people who are like, hey, you know what, you're right. And I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people. I would not have a problem living in the motherland. I've been over there, so I understand how much peace that would bring a person. But there's just some people, even if they did go, they're going to bring the shenanigans right with them. So, I mean, some things you just got to, you know, be careful what you wish for. And Brian says, and that was written by man, the Bible. Kiki says, but even Jesus got tired and turned the tables over in the temple. Yes, he did. I mean, he wasn't always walking around, you know, with olive branches and burning sage. I know he didn't do that, but, you know, and, you know, praying for everybody and, you know, blessings my child. But he got mad too. So there you have it. And Tweety Bird says, Dr. Randy Short asked for pardons for political prisoners and the Black boxer who beat all those boxers and dated a white woman and went to jail for that. And Marcus Garvey, and that was wrote in 2018 Trump. So you're talking about Jack Johnson, the boxer in the early 1900s who was married a white woman. They sent him to prison because they said he trafficked a white woman
across state lines.
Yeah, you know, chopped up some mess on him, and so they posthumously pardoned him for those crimes, and his career never got back on track ever since then. So, you know, but yeah, I almost kind of want to say, man, you ain't no better. You know, y'all fresh out of slavery, right up in Jim Crow, and you gallivanting around with a white woman.
Why should he be happy?
Well, in the end, he wasn't. Okay, and they saw to that. You don't be taking our white woman from state to state.
Which goes back to this. Every civilization, if you want to survive, you have to protect your woman. Black men, I'm speaking to you. Until we get respect for our Black women and we start protecting our Black women, we are going to be in a situation that we are in right now for years to come. I've been warning you.
You better say it, brother. And Israel says, we're still not keeping the commandments. That's why we're being slaughtered.
But wait a minute, though. Wait. Does not the white slave master read the same Bible to me? So wouldn't the same rule apply to him that he applied to me, that I should follow this Christian doctrine? So how is it that we're not following the doctrine, but I can say the same thing that they're not doing it either, and they're being blessed?
Right. And Tweety Bird said that's why he thought you skipped him, because that statement was not actual. Oh, okay. I'm not skipping anybody. I read them even if I don't agree with them. I read them. And Brian.
Again, for everybody on YouTube, they are doing YouTube and Facebook. They are doing a lot of censorship. So if you're saying something that is, you might think is accurate, and it probably is, the algorithm says it's not. So
yeah, sometimes they do. Yeah. And Brian says we're following faith. We're following faith. They don't follow at all. So blame us for fighting back and protecting our body. Yeah, they don't at all. I mean, and a good example, and I'm gonna get to the rest of these comments because we're getting to the end here. But a good example is this. Look what's going on right now as we speak in Congress. These ones that say over 100 white Republicans, and I'm assuming they're all white. Ted Cruz, he think he white, but he Mexican. They are saying they're
Cuban.
He ain't white, okay? They're saying that they're not going to certify the election results on the 6th because the Trump was cheated and all of this other stuff. So the point that I'm making is these same, good white people who gave us this religion, and they gave it to us, okay? Gave us this religion. They don't follow the rules. And even to this day, they trying to steal a whole presidency. They done stole people. They done stole everything under the sun. So why would it stealing the presidency be unusual? They don't follow the rules.
Right. And it actually shows you white people in general do not believe in democracy. It's a bunch of bullshit. They believe in elitism. That's why give it a few more years and we keep going down the road that we're going. Look at your history books. Research the French Revolution and research the Russian Revolution. Why did the poor people raise up? Because everything was taken from them where they had no choice. They went on a murdering spree, just murdering rich people everywhere they can find them.
Yep. And Jonelle says, right, Donovan, it's our time now. Jesus is not going to save us. We got to know first scriptures was remixed, especially King James Version of the Bible, to keep us slave-minded and docile, looking to spookism, to save us from real oppression. Babies born every day, some named Jesus, David, Solomon, etc. Nature uses its innate God-given ability. And slave is one taught not to use his especially God-given brain. Face the truth and do as Jesus did. Jesus had a sword dripping with the blood, and I can't see the rest of the comment. But no, absolutely. I mean, at some point in time, we have to just realize we all we got. You better, as Malcolm said, stop singing and start swinging. For real. And Jonelle says, God didn't create niggas. The colonizer did. Absolutely. Because we blame a lot of stuff on us that's not for us to own. A lot of this, most of it, is not something we created. We just live in it, unfortunately, and continue it, but we didn't create that. And Janelle says, before Blacks become self-sufficient, we need to cure the trauma, in the community. We need Black psychologists, therapists, and counselors to help start healing from the social dysfunction that plague the hood. Absolutely. And that's what Dr. Joy DeGruy says in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. We need to first realize that we are not well as a people. We are not. We have so many traumas that we just, continue to live out. And slavery, we weren't there, but it's something that's just passed down generation to generation. Even looking at something like this vaccine, where we continue, none of us were there during all these trials and stuff, but we use that as an example as to why we're not taking the vaccine. They good, known for, doing, using Black people as guinea pigs and doing this, that, and the other. So we good, right? So there's still stuff that we may not remember because we weren't there, but we remember because we revisit history rather.
And you got to speak about that. I know we got to get to the comments, but we're doing pretty good. You got to think about when they stopped doing like the involuntary experiments, and they started like paying people for these experiments. Like I said, the press is not telling you and advertising the people that are dying from taking these COVID viruses. Their excuse is, they had underlying conditions. Really? How do we know that? But here's the thing. When you have a permanent underclass that doesn't have any money in their community, and they have an experiment, and I'm going to pay you $500 a week if you come and do this experiment. This is how they do it. And what's the only group in the United States that's at the bottom of the economic scale? It's the Black people. So they're so used to us being guinea pigs that they're going to, they've got us in a trick bag to where some of us, we need the money. we need the money. So, you know, we're going to go and take an experimentation and do all these things. Is it a secret? Did you guys notice that? I don't care what video it was that I saw, it was always a Black woman giving a shot to somebody. Very rare that I see a white woman.
Right. Well, you know, they know we are like, we good. Okay. Y'all got us with Jim Jones and all of them. We ain't falling and drinking the Kool-Aid no more. Okay. And Misty, you say, God do not want us to continue to suffer, and we are not 13% of the population, while there is 99% of Black men locked up. Well, you know, that's
99%. That's pretty high, because then I should be a commodity with women, with the men that are missing. So I would say 99. I think that's a little bit high, but I would agree at least 45% of Black men are missing in the community.
Well, I think they said there's over 50% of the prison population is Black men, but in 99%, if that was the case, Donovan wouldn't be here. It'd be only, you know, a few Black men out there. But yes, it is pretty high, though, to your point. And tonight says, I honestly feel we have allowed that Bible and those hymns to keep us in quicksand. Oh my God, you said a mouthful there. And Demetra says, these heathens have gone out of their way to hide our history and will never ante up willingly. They lie about every damn thing. Yep. But you know, the truth is there for us to find. They're written in so many books by our people. We just got to go and get those books and study, and so we'll know. And Dearna says, I agree with you that God resides in us. Therefore, we are great people. We have been brainwashed to be subservient and praying even for those who do us harm. That is crazy. I agree with you. I'm not praying for nobody who did somebody wrong that I know and love. No, not me. And Marcus says, and once again, you have proved my point exactly for Marcus Garvey to Black Wall Street. No matter how hard you try in this country, they will do what they have to do to bring you back down as a people. So this debate about what we need to do and what we should be fighting for is useless. Passport and reparations, mourning, leave. I mean, I get it. I agree with you. I don't believe that America is for us, but then there's some people like, you know, my people built this country and I want what's mine. And I'm one of those. I want my reparations, and then I will leave.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that will stay in this country and we have to leave them behind. I will leave, but I'm not leaving without my money. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. Give me my money. See, and the problem is, though, they owe us so much damn money that they know they can't. The wealth would just be taken out of this country. I mean, we'd have to just disassemble all of the buildings, everything that we built here, and take it with us.
They can. They just don't want to. And Misty says, yes, I'm ready to go too. And AJ says, yep, I'm working on it right now, going to get my home in Lagos. Oh, I know that's right. And AJ says 100. And Janelle says, I just watched a YouTube video about a couple who moved to Japan and started a successful soul food restaurant. Can't believe that. But hey, whatever works.
See, but here's the thing about Japan. They have laws. You can't just, I mean, they're probably there and opened a restaurant, but they don't own anything. They had to get it through a third party. If you're not a native in a lot of countries, you can't own any property there.
All right. And then Missy says, yes. And AJ says, for real, exactly, Demetra. And Donovan says, don't forget to watch and listen to Demetra on the African Diaspora News channel on YouTube. Yes, indeed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to African Diaspora News channel, where Phil Scott has built a platform for people to help get the message out about what's going on in the Black community, so that we'll be aware, because you know that our traditional media, the white media, is not going to tell our stories. And if they do, they're not going to tell the full story. They're not going to tell the stories of your Deshaun Douglases and, you know, a whole host of issues that go on in our community. They're going to tell their story. You know, as Dr. Claude Anderson say, we own less than 3% of the media. And so we need to do our best, especially if we have these platforms, to be enlightening, so that we'll be in the know. There you go. And Demetra says the white man run Africa too. Yeah, it's 10%.
Not true.
Well, it's 10% of them over there, but they own 90%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. I mean, when you're calling the wealth and the stuff like that, they don't control Africa. It's the same political problem we have here in the system. Okay. The former, all these warlords, Sisiko in the Congo and stuff, these guys are worth $15 billion. It's these people that are selling out their people. But just like my man Mugabe in Zimbabwe, He was like, nah, fuck that. I'm rich myself, but you white men ain't gonna come in here and tell us what to do, whatever. I mean, how many of you guys have heard of the narrative of the South African farmers being murdered? Even Trump jumped in on that bullshit.
Well, they told them. They said, hell up.
Yeah. Well, golly, go back to your Dutch. You have a home country. Go back there if you don't like the rules that are going on in an African country. That's just how it is. So, Demetra, I'm not saying that you're right. I know where you're going with it. But as far as the white man ruling Africa, no, the corporations are coming in and raping the resources out of it because black leaders are selling out.
Who owns the corporations?
Yeah, white folks.
Antonio says the problem in the black community is we don't stick together. Why keep doing the same things knowing we don't have a fair hand at justice, build our own communities, and invest in our youth? I agree with you 100%. And Marcus says, I very much agree with you that people who want to leave will leave, but just like anything else concerning our people, we have to make it popular and we have to sell it to them. And believe me, if we are preaching it, we will have the same effect that they have on our black asses every 4 years when it comes to our time for election. Remember, we are what they call a lie at 7 a.m. only to call it the true by 7 p.m. because we've seen it repeatedly. Well, you know, who will be over here to do serve them hamburgers and give them haircuts and, you know, do their laundry and all that? They, let us all leave. You know, we are the.
Yeah, and I just want to correct Marcus real quick. Every 2 years.
Every what?
There's an election every 2 years. Yeah, there's an election every 2 years. The pivotal election happens every 2 years. That's your congressional person or your senator. The president, that's one of our problems. Everybody knows when there's a presidential election.
And that's what I was going to say. Most people don't get wrapped up into the elections every 2 years, you know, the midterm elections, because we only focus on the president, right? But we don't focus on the state and local. And Tanaya says, Antonio agreed 100%. And Antonio says, I personally believe there is a more powerful being, but I believe that more powerful being is a woman. The black woman is the most powerful being on this planet, period. Donovan, nothing comes without a woman. 100. I agree with you. I don't know what Donovan over there having convulsions and stuff.
What's love got to do with it? The book of Ike, chapter 13, specifically says to the black woman what the problem is.
You notice how he left out that chapter when Tina Turner whooped his ass in the back of that limo too. And Deanna says, we must remember that the slave master was always present to ensure religion was dictated to slaves with a particular narrative, a narrative that was beneficial to them and detrimental to black people. And we still do that to this day. We pick and choose. Oh, let go and let God. Just wait on him. Just pray. Oh, pray. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna be washed white as snow. Just give it to God. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but come on now. Some of those,
all this bullshit here, do everything, and when I'm dead and gone, think about it. If some of us even make it to heaven, if you read the Bible, this God has angels that all they do all day is praise him. That's all they do for eternity. There's no guarantee. Think about it. If heaven is anything like this, why would you want to go after all the hell that you're getting here? Why, if you're in heaven, why would you need a mansion in heaven and a Mercedes Benz?
Or if heaven has all of that, why are we still here? I mean, I know you ain't supposed to do nothing to yourself because they say you go to hell if you kill yourself. But Donovan, I heard heaven, they got it going on up there. They got mansion streets of gold. Why don't you go and slip something in my drink? Go and put a little nick, some arsenic in my drink so I can get there. I'm just saying, I'm not telling people to listen. I'm not saying I'm just being funny, jokey joke. And Jonelle says, exactly, Donovan, what commandments are whites keeping? Their Bible has so many snares written in so many fables, hypocritical doctrine that will lead most to take it literally, slave-minded, as Jesus said, now the truth and the truth, know the truth, and the truth will make you free. It said Jesus had a sword dripping with blood like Nat Turner. Yes, indeed. Marcus says we must either adopt the Haitian rules of war or leave. It is the simplest thing to do, one or the other. Anything else is in between is useless at this point. He said, if we have so many traumas and so continue suffering, why the hell is packing bags for a better life on a new frontier such an unrealistic thought? Because there are some Black people that cannot see separating from. They just like this is all they know. They cannot, because they think, oh, if I go to Africa, yeah, I'm gonna be swinging from vines and
no. Just like Malcolm said, where you gonna get a better house when you get here? What, separate from this good white man? Where we gonna go? We're conditioned.
Right. Like, I'm just saying. And Demetra says, what happened to Tiffany? Now, who's Tiffany? And Tweety Bird says, you become numb to the society just to get by. Yep. I gotta do what I gotta do. Becomes the mentality. And Jonelle says, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, it's separation or death. We live in a nation that is still sowing evil, and death is still in full harvest. It's our best interest to not follow the ways of these heathens and truly be righteous in our practice to self and others. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan has given the criteria in Revelations 18:4. And Misty says the covenant was not for Esau. And Marcus, you say, and for the very few that know, we are so useless to this country that most Black birth certificates is owned by China as an investment tool to pay back creditors. If you don't believe me, look at the bottom of your birth certificate, and those red numbers to any book is going to ask how much it's worth. But I've heard that, but I mean, I don't know. I guess me personally have to look more into that, but I have heard that birth certificate is really some sort of a bill of goods, that kind of thing. So I have to look into it. I don't know a lot to say one thing about it or the other.
Right. Well, if you guys have been paying attention, we see how the Chinese love and appreciate the Africans that are in their country. So.
Right. Exactly. That ain't good. And Marcus said, we must understand that the only reason, the only reason the Republican Party is being so effective is this in this useless effort is because they have physicians. I think he meant position the right people in permanent positions. They give them this opportunity. Believe me, nearest blood in their mouth for the little bit they have gotten so far. This will get worse. Oh yes, it's getting worse every day. And tonight says, great show, Demetra and Donovan. And thank you all. You guys make it a good show. And Jonelle says, when we as Black nation separate Black wealth from this white nation, we will empower ourselves and this white nation will fold. It's simple math that they are in fear of more or less us having reparations. And AJ says, awesome show. And see, Ruffin, how are you? Says, good evening, peace and love. Antonio says, yes, I agree. I love the show. I don't always comment, but I'm here. Yay. Thank you so much. And Charlie, what's going on with you? Says, what do you think he says, a growing number of Republican senators led by Ted Cruz are set to announce today they will also object to certifying the Electoral College votes on Wednesday, the 6th. Yeah, I mean, it's just white men and want to be white men, Ted Cruz, doing what they always do. Like I said, if they were still people, and are we surprised that they were still an election?
Well, you got to think about this too. They're talking about the Constitution is so important and all this other stuff. Why aren't they upholding it?
No.
And then what's happening, and this is all political theater, because if they certify it or not, it's a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. He lost the election. This guy will be leaving. It's all political theater.
Right. And then, he talking about Trump, he trying to find 12,000 more votes in Georgia. It's like, man, give up the ghost. Come on. Just listen. If you play your cards right, you might be able to come back in 4 years. But right now, you got to get the hell up out of there, okay?
See, and here's the thing. When I talk about political theater, do you know by him calling those electing officials and trying to change their mind and stuff is a crime? That is a crime because he is trying to unduly influence the election of the people's vote. That's a crime, but nobody's talking about it.
Mr. Saadiq, I have a question for you. Who's going to check him, boo? Who's going to check Trump?
Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, Cheryl Lee in Houston. I can go on and on with the Black girl magic. Kamala, the second most powerful Black woman in the Congress.
in the world, pretty much.
Wow, she's gonna check them. Oh, that's right. They don't say anything.
Okay. We'll wait for it. And Marcus says, and if we're to be really radical about this conversation and how it relates to the Bible, start asking these politicians when he made of God periodically talking about the ones that make me hate it for themselves, or they talking about the ones that descripted in the Bible. And I know you must be using your microphone there. And Charlie says, Happy New Year 2021 to D&D, and Happy New Year to you as well. And Tony says, mark my words, Ivanka Trump will be president in 4 years. Interesting.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Antonio, but I will tell you this. In 4 years, there will be a Republican president. And I want you guys to take advantage of this too. Do you guys know in the last 50 years, every time there has been, or since Nixon, every time there has been a Republican president, a recession or bad shit happened after their administration.
So basically, we're going to be up shit creek. So anyway, you guys, and we are out of time. I don't see any more comments. I thank you so much for being here. And again, if you want to support Black media, I have a Cash App up here, a hashtag $ Demetra Kaye. Every little bit helps us to continue paying for the show, because it does cost us a little something. But anyway, also thank you to Donovan for everything that he does here and sitting here and bringing his facts and his information and, you know, all of that. And Marcus Guy for everything that he does behind the scenes in making the show go farther. And of course, thank you to YouTube and Facebook for all your insight and your wisdom and knowledge, because we learn so much from you all as well. And then we always throw this invitation out here too. If you ever wanted to come on here and talk about something and engage with the audience, let us know. We'll send you a link. And so we'll be back on the War Zone tomorrow, 7:00 p.m. Central Time. I don't know what we're talking about, but there's a lot to talk about. And so stay tuned for that. Of course, Free Flow Friday on Friday with Donovan and I, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Got all these times going through my head, where we talk about everything that happened during the week. And I have a new show coming, and I've always talked about this. You guys have heard me talk about it. I'm developing it as we speak. It's called What's Behind the Booty. Now, again, obviously a play on words, but it's really to help men and women, but more so men. I got the idea because I would hear men talk about it all the time. Oh, you know, this, you know, she get me for the child support, and oh, she this and she that and she this and she that. I really got this from Donovan, but no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, and so I would always ask Donovan when he would bring up these things, do y'all ever ask what's behind the booty? And what I mean by that is, what's behind her big giant booty, whether it's real or not? What's behind it? Did you get to ask some questions? Did you ask yourself, am I going to want to spend 18 years financially with this person if we don't work out? Am I going to want to do that? Did you ask yourself those things before you got caught up with said person? Now, of course, we're going to, you know, be given relationship. When I say we, because it's going to be other people on the show with me. And what I want to do ultimately is interview men who have had certain situations or maybe having a situation, and see if I can, along with guests, come on and give them the best advice that we can. And so it's just one of the things that I'm working on to kind of switch it up a little bit.
You know, and it's so funny that she says that, because this is the girl, if you watch the Belle Biv DeVoe video, Poison, that was Demetra walking in the beginning of the video.
I doubt it, okay? I don't have no poison, okay? My vial is empty. So anyway, you guys, I am going to get out of here along with Donovan. Peace and love to you as well, Antonio. And then Marcus says, I meant to say where the government and the Bible is related. So we're bringing up God. We must ask them what God they are praying to, the one manufactured or the one scripted in the Bible. I will, Tanaya. Thank you so much. I appreciate you as always. And Jonelle says peace. And you also say it's civil war in plain sight. Stock up on food, water, etc. You have a survival kit in play. Stay woke. Exercise the 5 Ps. Now, proper preparation prevent poor performance. Yes, indeed. New year, get out there. Put your tennis shoes on. Exercise. I'm actually speaking to myself. So, you guys, we will see you guys on Monday. Have a great day.